Pew. Oh, it's already going? Okay. Do. Hello, Henrik. Meow. Hi, baby. It's my fucking stream. There it is. It's pretty dark. Maybe put this. Ooh, that's bright. That's better. Everybody who's watching, you're here. You can ask questions about dating for the next hour. And Nana will assist me with her cuteness. And maybe too. Hi. Hi, Mimi. Sorin is calling me. Hello, Sorin. I'm in the middle of a live stream. Can you hear me? 1 second. Sorin. You can't hear me, can you? Okay, well. Can everyone else hear me? Hopefully. Say hello, Nana. Hello, people. Sorin. I'm in a live stream. In 1 hour, I'll be free. Everyone on TikTok, you are more than welcome to ask me questions however you see fit. I think my audio is working correctly. Hopefully. Desktop audio. Speakers, why can't I hear? Oh, because they're off. Derp. Okay, I can hear myself. Cool. Just making sure audio's on. Is that vodka? No, it's not vodka. I've been sober for 2.5 years, motherfuckers. No alcohol for me. Oh, fuck. Yeah. Gotcha. Alrighty. I got you. It is not vodka, it's water. Hi, Hector. I've been practicing cold approach. Eastern European girls seem more feminine. I had better experience. In the UK, I get hostile reactions on a regular basis. Is it worth young men moving? Well, I mean, why not? If you prefer the girls there and they seem to be getting better reactions. You don't want to sit with me? You don't want to sit with me? No? I don't have the pussy power. She doesn't want to sit with me. Hello from Romania. Bună ziua, ce faci? Cum se spun tu cheamă? Vorbesc puțin română. Locuiesc în România pentru 4 ani. Sorry. What? That was on TikTok. I'm on TikTok YouTubers, just so you know that I'm also on there. So if I look down and I'm asking a question you don't see, it's because it's a TikToker. So if you're getting weird reactions in the UK, part of that has to do with culture, but part of that probably has to do with your approach. But without getting more details, I don't really know what to say. But is it worth moving? Yeah, sure. Yeah, dude, go where you like. You know, why not? Go on an adventure. Go have fun. So yeah, I'd say you should move. Come to Romania. The women are beautiful. Or Ukraine. That's where I was living, but you know, maybe not the best place to go right now. I'm in Romania right now, actually, Bianca. I'm in Bucharest. I was living in Kiev, Ukraine, with my fiance, but bombs. So I came back to Romania where I lived for 4 years. So I'm back home, kind of. Sobriety is for average frustrated chumps. How can we practice being less emotionally reactive? Going sober is a good first start. It helps you align your emotions and get some stability. Timisoara. Oh, I've never actually visited there. Um, I've been to, let's see, where else? Oradea, that was when I first came to Romania, Oradea. And then I've been to Cluj. I've been to Vaslui and Iași. My ex-girlfriend was from Vaslui. I know already your reaction. But yeah, I need to check out Timisoara. For sure, I should check it out. Hey Hector, I have your MGE course. Good. I'm in a city where women are pretty conservative. And going for the compliment opener comes off a bit strong. Is there an alternative opener that can work? How do you know it's coming on a bit strong? I've done direct approaches everywhere in the world and I've never had a problem with it. So I think maybe it's how you're doing it. Maybe you need to do it in a much more like, not, hey, excuse me, I saw you over here and you look really beautiful. Do it in just excuse me, I saw you over here and I wanted to come tell you that you're very beautiful. Very like gentlemanly, right? So if you do it in a gentlemanly way, then you counteract any like, oh, he's a player, oh, he's a playboy. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I think it's working now. Okay, that works better. I'll just use my headset. It's not a bad looking uh, headset. So yeah, it's my mic. The cable was kind of fucked up. Hopefully it's not too loud now. Alrighty, so yeah, it's. I don't think it's the fact that you're being direct. It's about the way you're doing it. There's a big difference between hey, you're really beautiful, and um, hey, you're really beautiful. Like just changing a small amount of your tonality and your body language and your eye contact. There's ways that you can lessen it on the spectrum, to make it more soft. Basically, is how you want to go about it. You want to soften the approach, or the approach literally. Obviously not hostile. I mean, just a high percentage. I had decent success in the UK, but Europe was next level. Then yeah, then move. Yeah, definitely move. I would say you'll just have a better time. Okay, hey Hector, how would you advise to exude a more sexual vibe and aura when interacting with women? Actually, I just made a TikTok about this 2 days ago. I'll post it. But think about her sexually while you're talking to her. Now, obviously, some people can take this to the extreme and they're going to be like, oh, you're just all you think about is sex and you're objectifying her and her derp, derp, derp. Obviously, if you use your brain, there's more to it than that. But at points in the interaction, it could be before you approach her. It could give you this energy. Like you see her walking and you imagine her in more scandalous situations. Your creativity and your imagination are the limit there. You can imagine her. See, here's a comment I can tell you. Men think too sexually. That's just simply not true. That's something I can verify is simply not true. Maybe you think that they're too sexual, but I promise that you're seeing that through some sort of filter. Most men don't see women sexually. That's the thing. And I can tell you that because I coach men for a living. And I've seen this 1,000 times, and even with myself, like we're actually afraid to think about women sexually because we're afraid of this. Like, oh, men are pigs, men are this. Like, for men to think sexually about women is very, very rare. And it's a combination of fear and like being overly respectful, if that makes sense. Obviously, you should respect people, men and women. It doesn't fucking matter. But it's like they're they're misunderstanding what it means to respect a woman. Thinking sexually about a woman isn't disrespectful. It's it can be very respectful. Like you notice she's beautiful and you're respecting it by having lust for it, for that side of her. It's not a one-sided, one-dimensional approach, but it is one of the dimensions of the approaching women literally and figuratively in our own minds that men have a weakness for because most men lack the ability to express themselves on a sexual level, which means on some level they're not seeing women sexually. Because if you were seeing and feeling women sexually, the woman would react to that. But it's not like men are getting rejected on a sexual level. They're not even presenting themselves on a sexual level. And that absence of sexuality imp- gives a rejection like naturally because they weren't even in the game in the first place. But if men were able to push themselves forward on a sexual level, then at least the woman would have the chance to go yes or no. Whereas most men just come across lukewarm. Um, Now, obviously, that can be taken to the extreme. In your mind, you can have the guy who's um, oh yeah, baby, I want to fuck you. But that could be attractive to some women. Like some guy who's hypersexual, if she finds him attractive. I mean, you had that skit on Saturday Night Live with Tom Brady and like the loser guy, and like everything that Tom Brady says is sexy, and then everything that the loser guy says is not sexy. And at the end, it's a joke, and it's like how to get women. Step one, be attractive. Step two, don't be unattractive. There's truth to that, and it's more than just your looks. But on a fundamental basis, it is. If you're attractive, sexual energy that you exude is going to be reciprocated, as long as it's not too much. Like you have to exude the right amount of sexuality on the level that she's ready to accept. Like you kiss her, okay, she's willing to kiss you. But if you were to like go further than that and try to start undressing her, then she's like, whoa, okay, this is where we stop, right? So how we take steps in the sexual dance is basically the guy takes a step either because he's just gonna like try to kiss her, right? Or he sees a sign from her that gives some sort of a confirmation or an invitation um, at various levels in the seduction. And then the woman gives a communication of I accept this, I don't accept this, or something in the between like I'm interested maybe, but let's wait. So, exactly. Right. So, body language is important, eye contact is important, vocal tonality is important. Um, what she has communicated about herself throughout the interaction is important. Um, but sometimes these things can be conflicting. Like a woman could go on a rant about how guys are like, you know, overly sexual, right? But then 10 minutes later, she's sucking your dick. And it's kind of like a, wait a second, you were just complaining about this thing about men's sexuality, but then you're like, sometimes they can be tests, sometimes they can be acts that women put on as a way to put forth some sort of identity, right? But then that's not really who they are. Um, like I had a guy, a client messaged me like 2, 3 weeks ago, and he's like, "Yeah, I was on a date with this girl, and one minute she was telling me how she fucked some new guy just like a week after her divorce, and then 10 minutes later was talking about how she's not that kind of girl who has quick flings." And then at the end of the date, she came over and sucked my dick, and it was just like this, like, what's going on? This these confusing signals, which I think a lot of times women, just like men, are confused as to what they want on a macro level and on a micro level, like with this particular person in front of them, right? So like she might like you for 1 second and not like you based on something that you said or did. Or on a macro level, she might be like, yeah, I'm looking for something casual. And then she's like, no, I want something serious, right? So communication is very difficult because sometimes the person communicating what they want doesn't know what they want, right? So coming back to the initial point of men need to start thinking more sexually, they obviously need to pay attention to the woman to know if she is accepting of, the energy that he's putting out. I'm not even talking about like, whether it's okay to kiss her or like make a next move. I'm talking also on an energetic level, on like if she's comfortable with the energy that you're putting out, right? So, but you have to attempt at some point to like, I'm gonna look at her for like an extra second. I'm gonna like give her sexy eyes, and I'm gonna see how she responds. And this is you attempting to do more with the seduction, and then you see how she responds. She might do like a shy like smile and then look away because she's a little bit nervous, but it doesn't mean she's not into it. Then there also might be a look away that's like uncomfortable, like like, yeah, or she might be like super like hot and ready and she'll stare you back, like a woman who just like stares at you and she's looking at you like your lunch, right? So I think that overall, most men need to start thinking more sexually. And if this is your problem, if you are consistently talking to women and trying to ask them out, and you always get friend zoned. And I'm not talking about the friend zone where like you friend zone yourself by never attempting to take it further. I'm talking about you meet a girl, you make it clear you're interested in her, and then you ask her out. And if you get the, oh yeah, you're really sweet, but sorry, I have a boyfriend. And sometimes it actually means she has a boyfriend, but sometimes if you keep consistently meeting the girls and they're giving you the boyfriend line, it's like, yeah, it's statistically unlikely that all of them had a boyfriend. Um, or if you at least, maybe you get dates, but then you're always getting friend zoned. Meaning, um, she doesn't want to kiss you, or you don't get a second date, or you've never had a one night stand. Like all of these things are signs that your weakness is actually your weakness is your lack of sexuality. So if that seems to be your consistent failure, then you should start thinking more sexually and attempting to imagine women in a sexual manner. And it's going to change how sexy you are. Like I remember testing it. I knew it always worked, but I was like, all right, I'm going to really like test it in real time. And I remember I was on a date with a girl and I looked at her and I just started imagining like having sex with her, like really graphically. And I could feel it change my face, like micro expressions. I could feel it was changing my mood, like I was getting horny, like I started to actually get hard. Like I could feel I was like getting a little bit more like smiley and a little bit more like my eyes were kind of like, if you're aware of how your body works, you can feel like your body changing, your facial expressions changing, and your I didn't quite know if my pupils were dilating or not, but probably they were. I could feel an energetic change. And within like a minute, she actually told me, she said, you're looking at me like, like in a dirty way. And I didn't purposefully go, I'm going to move my cheek, muscle this degrees. Like I just changed how I thought. And that had an effect
on my behavior because she, you know, she made it pretty clear. She's like, "Oh, you're looking at me," and she didn't like. She did not like it. We were still in like the flirty stage, because she didn't say like, "Oh, why are you looking at me like that?" She's like, "Oh, you're looking at me like you wanna, you wanna do something to me." Like we had a flirty talk about it. So changing how you think is going to change how you come off. So if you're having a problem with not being sexual enough, start thinking more sexually, right? There is a small amount of men who actually need to not be thinking so sexually about women, but usually those men are the players who are already getting a bunch of success. Or they're the really like creepy guy who is just like overly sexual and like is just creepy as fuck. But those guys are not as common as they're they're very loud. So like when a girl meets a guy like that, it's gonna be memorable. Like, yeah, that guy was fucking creepy. But they're not that common. So, and they're usually not looking for dating advice. They're usually too like they lack the conscientiousness to actually seek how to do a better way when it comes to dating. That's calibration. Exactly. That's literally social calibration. You are calibrating to the moment, right? As the temperature goes down or the temperature goes up, you change how much like heat you're putting out. Excuse me. Mhm. Do 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 do. All right. No more questions. Is everyone out of questions already? Hello, Ahmed. How do you manage to stay calibrated with a lot going on? Party environment. Yeah, that's difficult. That's just practice, right? That's just if you get in an environment enough, you get good at it, right? Like I worked at a nightclub in California, like a nice nightclub. Once I had had that experience, my ability to handle because it tested me. I had to work and clean up, entertain the guests, and at the same time I'm trying to flirt with girls, obviously, because fuck it, you know. And at that time, I'm fucking drinking, and so there's a lot going on, right? So it tests your ability. Oh, table 5, the guests are coming in. Shit, I gotta go get ice. I gotta get the straws and the drinks ready, and tell the chick that I'm working with, like, oh hey, table 5's getting in there, and she has to, get her tits ready. Um, so it tested my ability to multitask in that environment with money on the line. But then also I'm trying to get laid because yeah, again, why not? If you're in the nightlife industry and you're not trying to get laid, you're not really in the nightlife industry. Um, so just keep going to bars and keep going to clubs. That's going to, or and keep having parties. That's going to keep sharpening your calibration. There's really no other way to go about it. You can have a purposeful practice, right? You're like, I'm gonna work on these 3 things. So then subconsciously you'll be learning things, but then you're consciously focused on like, all right, I'm gonna work on my voice. I'm gonna work on my body language. I'm gonna work on my giving people attention, because I don't pay enough attention to people and I'm kind of spacey, So you're gonna tell yourself these are the things I'm gonna work on. Oh my god, my phone is just dying. I should have charged it, but TikTok seems to be pretty weak. Not a lot of people are watching. That's unfortunate. Oh well, we'll get it up there. How to have more range and intonation in your voice. Your voice here. I'll answer the next question, right? but I'll change my tonality a bunch in my range, and I'll show you. Like you literally just get on the guitar and you start playing different sounds until you find ones that work. And some of them are going to sound ridiculous, right? And some of them are going to sound, you know, kind of cool. And you're going to learn how to intonate at the right time because you're trying to make a point. But then you're going to get to a point where like you really want to start explaining a lot of things and you want to get it through it quickly. But it's not so important of information that you need to go slow and seductive with it. You just want to get it out of the way, but it is necessary for them to hear. And then once you get that part out of the way, or that part out of the way, and you don't fucking stutter, haha, then you can slow down and you start to, taste your words a little bit more because you want people to pay attention at this point. And then you get to the really important point where you make your big point, and then they get it. And then you leave a nice little pause at the end there, like I did, to make them pay attention. And then you go back to normal talking, right? You're not always going to be fluctuating between like dee doo dee doo dee doo doo, right? That's just exhausting. A fair amount of the time, you're just doing a flat intonation or a flat tonality, but then occasionally you're gonna play with it. Like a song that is constantly going like it's very exhausting, right? A song has to have the hook, right? It's the thing where it goes do 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 do, like it brings you back into the rhythm, and then you have the tempo change and like or the drop, or think of speaking as a song. There's always going to be there's going to be the do 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 do, and then there's going to be the hook, and then there's going to be the drop, and then there's going to be the crescendo, and you use those elements of how what makes songs interesting, and then you apply that to the way that you speak. Um, if you're in the night industry and you're not trying to get laid, you're not really in the nightlife industry. If you're on a date and working SAC, but she still does not give any signs that she wants to be intimate, how can you diagnose the problem? Then it's arousal, right? Or it's similarity. I mean, you kind of just answered your own question. Oh, what are you talking to me? El que quiere perder su tiempo. Okay. What do you want to do with your time? I'm giving dating advice, my friend. If you're interested, you can ask a question. She's compliant. Oh, but she's compliant. So she's going along with what you're doing, but you don't quite think she's ready to pull home. Well, did you try to ask her to come home with you? So sometimes you'll occasionally meet the kind of girls who are just, for whatever reason, it could be shyness. It could be they're just not super expressive. And they're into you and they're down to have sex with you. But they're not giving you the normal, like, ooh, hey baby, or they're all over you. They don't express themselves in that way. But you're just like, hey, you want to get out of here? They're like, yeah, sure. You're like, okay. And you're a little bit surprised, right? And then you go back to your place, and then she like, you start kissing her, you take off her clothes, and she's totally down for everything. And you're like, what? You know? And then you'll meet the kind of girls who are like super flirty, and they're like hanging over you and making out with you. And you're like, oh, you want to get out of here? They're like, no, it's a little bit too early for that, or no, not on the first date. And you're like, what? There's deeper reasons as to why that's going on. Um, but if she's being compliant, but she's not yet, like, you're not like, oh my God, we don't have a crazy connection, or she's not throwing herself at me, so she doesn't want to go home with me. You don't know. Try it. Try to ask her to come home with you. Now, if she says no to that, then it's S or it's A. It's similarity or it's arousal, right? Probably if it's arousal if you've had a really good connection with her, that's more visible because you're going to know that you talked about a lot of deep things, right? If you had a really good talk and like you felt like you got to know her really, really well just on the first date, like deep stuff, then it's arousal. That's the problem, right? Um, if you didn't have, because that compliance is coming from somewhere, if that makes sense, right? The compliance comes from either she's turned on or she feels a strong connection to you. It's kind of like they lead into compliance, right? So if you're getting compliance, it's coming from similarity or arousal. It's one of them. So if you have good similarity, you feel like you had a good connection, then it's arousal that you're lacking. If you're getting compliance but you didn't have like a lot of like connections, she's probably turned on by you, like attracted to you. Then you need to do more similarity. I told the girl I want her to sing me a good night song. She answered, "Oh, so does my music put you to sleep?" What? That's a pretty stupid test. That's the kind of shit a really insecure person would say. That's just annoying. Did you text her that? Is that something over a text? If you texted her that, I would just ignore it. Like if you said you should sing me a good night song, and she texts you, "Oh, so does my music put you to sleep?" I would just not respond to it. That's just a stupid fucking test. Like it's either fishing for a compliment or she actually got insulted, which the only way she could get insulted from that, because you're clearly saying she has a beautiful voice and it's like a lullaby. But for her to assume that, that's just like really insecure shit. So I would just ignore that text or just respond LOL. Like LOL what? Just like you're confused that she could come to that conclusion. Um, what's your go-to way to build arousal? Start thinking sexually, right? Put yourself in the sexual mood, and she's gonna start thinking more sexually. Um, if you have enough of a connection, you can like reach over and like touch her hand. Um, or if you really just want to like go phew, you can just like I'll just like look around. I'm like, all right, I want to start being sexual, and I'll just like look at her, right? And I wait till she does the why? What are you looking at? And she'll be like, oh, I'm just looking at you. Like, why? Why are you looking at me? Be like, cause you're cute, or you're beautiful, or you're really sexy. Like you can choose based on your confidence and you calibrate to the vibe, and you give her a comment based on how ballsy you are, but also what you think will actually work. But that's always a really good way. You just start staring at her, and you don't say anything. You just do that until she does the what? You're like, oh, you're just really cute. And I just wanted to look at you. I wanted to appreciate you. I've done that so many times, and usually you get a good response. They'll do the whole if they like think you're a player, like oh my god, But at least you're getting somewhere, right? Yeah, the text was per Instagram. Yeah, I would just ignore that. That was a stupid text for her to send. I've been talking to this girl, high interest. We went on a date almost a month ago. Haven't slept together yet. We've been trying to set up dates, but things happened. Either she went on vacation or blah 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 blah. Okay. Um. So let's say if the logistics are difficult and you had a date a month ago. Oh, here we go. Got out of work later. Past 2 days I got sick. We rescheduled. How much should I worry she'll lose interest? She responds to my text. I mean, you should never be worried a girl's going to lose interest, right? You just always adjust to the particular context. If she's still responding to your text, then there's nothing to worry about. But I know what you mean. Should you worry, and should that worry make you change your strategy? Um, I mean, yeah, enough like flaking and schedule problems and miscommunications eventually is going to lose connection. But I've been surprised by how much girls will like be okay with schedule conflicts and losing contact, reestablishing contact, and blah blah blah. But no, I don't think it's a I don't think it's a big deal. If she's still responding to your text, that's all that matters, right? I'd say though, if you had this much texting, a month of texting, you could probably pull a home date because you've established so much connection over so much time. Like it feels like you guys have been talking, right? So you can actually, maybe have dinner at your place. You should go for it. And you could even phrase it in a way of like, "Hey, so I know we've been having trouble um, setting something up. Why don't I make it up to you by cooking you dinner or fucking something like that?" No. Here, let me see if one of the kitties will come now. Mimi, come on, baby. Oh. While talking to women or while being in a social setting, do you think more about the technicalities or the mentality? Both. It depends what you're working on. It's hard to work on both. You usually are in a technical phase or you're in a mindset phase, and it's hard to do both at the same time. So choose one and focus on that. How long is your longest relationship? 3.5 years. I'm always torn between the Alabaster Girl type of thinking and Chase's technical details. There's no distinction. There is no distinction. I've met Zan. He knows the technical stuff. Just because he expresses himself in a more poetic fashion, but he's aware of the technical stuff. I got kicked and suspended on Overwatch because I was busy typing my question. LOL. Well, that's what you get for playing fucking Overwatch. Go play CSGO. Like a fucking adult. um, or Dota. Do you find it easy? Or WoW Classic. I'm fucking addicted to WoW again. Fucking goddamn it, my friends. Convinced me to play Wrath of the Lich King. And I'm back. God damn it. I'm back. I'm on a fresh server. I'm leveling from level fucking 1. I'm up to 61 now though. After I get off this call or this stream, I'm gonna go back to leveling. Do you find it easier to chase or keep a relationship? Well, keeping a relationship was really hard for me for years because I didn't really love the women and I knew that they weren't the one for me. I never stayed in a relationship more than a year until this one because I knew she wasn't for me. Like I knew it. I could have kept going, but it would have been fucking miserable and we would have suffered. Um, so for that amount of time, it was hard to keep the relationship. So it was easier to pick up girls. But once you find a girl that you really, really mesh with, it's easier to keep the relationship. It does require a skill set, and most guys don't have that skill set. Oh, there's my pen. I was fucking wondering where my pen was. Um, they're different skill sets. They're different skill sets. I'm a console pleb. Sorry if I'm yawning, guys. I woke up at 7. I'm trying to change my sleep schedule. So, I'm trying to start going to bed at like 11 and 12, not fucking 2 or 3. So I gotta push for a few more hours and then pass out. Do you find it easier to chase or sorry, Could you give me see? Fucking already tired. Can you give me an example of a touch ladder to follow on a date? I remember coming up with one. Uh, hand, elbow or hand is a good place to start. Like here or here, but here is like this is like the most like socially acceptable area. Like the friendly like tap. So like you're talking and you go like that and be like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Then if you're on a date, you can move up to the hand, and then um, if you're walking through a doorway, you can guide her lower back, just gently. Um, and then like if you're going for a walk after a date and you've already done like the elbow and hand thing, then you can like kind of guide her a little bit more and then like hold her hand. Or you can do the arm, like you offer your arm that I like to do. Um, then if you want, if you're in front of her, you can, grab her by the waist. If you feel like there's some proximity and she's like on your shit, she's close to you, she feels that like she's drawn to you. Um, how does Chase's style of seduction differ from yours? Chase is a lot more indirect. Like, he won't be super sexual unless it's innuendo. I'm much more direct. Like, I'm gonna give a girl a lot of compliments. I'm gonna be very, very joking and smiling and laughing and high energy. He's much more low energy and relaxed. Whereas I'm gonna be like, oh, da 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 da. Like, I'll get next to a girl and kiss her on the cheek. You know, be like, oh, you're so sweet. Like I'm very, very. I can be very, very energetic, very high energy. Guido, what's up, dude? Uh, how to select the woman with the right qualities for a relationship based on a career lifestyle goals. Yeah. So, obviously I'm going to be able to answer this question a little bit more in detail because we've been talking. But for those who are watching and want some context, he's looking to, um, make a lot of money and be very ambitious. So he wants a girl who's going to support that, but obviously who is also beautiful and, is going to be faithful and all that stuff. Um, so the one thing that I was going to tell you on text, but I didn't go too much into detail, but maybe now's a good time. I think you're underestimating the small town girl. Like you think, oh, to have a girl support me on building my empire, she's got to be a hustler too. I think that's some sort of like fantasy that's been carved into our culture with like power couples. I don't think that's fucking real. It can be helpful. I don't think it's necessary. I think you could find a cool like small town girl who's like smoking hot and like really good person and has good values, and she'll support the fuck out of you. She might actually be able to support you more because she has free time. She has like a simple job, or she works at a pharmacy or this or that. Just because she doesn't have big ambitions herself doesn't mean she can't support someone with ambitions. She'll have the free time to actually support you, whereas like the hustle chick won't be able to support you as much because she's too busy doing her own hustle, right? The only question that you had was, is she going to be boring? That's a different question. Um, as someone who purposefully sought unboring women, uh, most of the time it was just suffering. Boring girls are not boring, they're just peaceful. You just find peaceful environments boring because you're used to high energy slash toxic environments. This is something that is talked about actually in Buddhism, where we're so addicted to pleasure that we lack the ability to see that there actually is pleasure in peace. But we're so used to this, I gotta constantly stimulate myself. And this is coming from a guy who's like all about stimulation, right? But it's something that I'm aware of, that you have to be okay with just a peaceful environment as well, right? Like, can you handle just, are you okay with that, right? Do you find that boring? If you find that boring, that's more of a you problem, right? Now, I'm not saying everyone needs to be like me, right? Um, I'm not saying you have to be a monk or you have to, go the path I'm going. I'm just saying what you think is boring is probably not boring. You just maybe need to chill a little bit. But I understand what you mean, because even though I like more peaceful girls now, yeah, I still want her to be like an interesting character. But if a woman is intelligent, she's going to be interesting. So it's not about, again, we get addicted to bad behaviors. We get addicted to toxic ups and downs, which are very, very addicting. Because they fucking hook us on like the most like foundationally like big dopamine dump and big dopamine depletion, and we chase after it because of our insecurities and whatnot. But that's not actually what makes a woman interesting. What makes a woman interesting is her intelligence. If she's intelligent, intelligent people are not boring. Dumb people are boring. Um, I don't think I've ever met an intelligent person who's actually boring. So it's not toxic or not toxic, or like ambitious and non ambitious, that makes someone boring or not. That's not what makes them boring. What makes them boring is their lack of intelligence. So if you cut away toxicity and she's just a very peaceful, chill girl, you might find that boring, but that's because of your addiction to toxic behavior. But if she's peaceful and intelligent, she's not going to be boring. She's just peaceful most of the time. Like, she's healthy. Like, she doesn't feel the need to party all the time or to like grind really hard. Like, ambition is, most ambitious people that I know, most have issues. They got issues. They got a lot of issues. Um, I'm not saying all people who are unambitious are healthy and like happy. That's not true either. Um, but if you can find an intelligent woman who's at peace and doesn't is not fucked up, like just has a healthy mind, that's probably going to be more useful for your business overall, because the hustle chick, probably, like, high ambition women usually have issues because high ambition is mostly a masculine thing. Um so if you find a woman who's like overly ambitious, she probably has some issues. And that's, in my opinion, going to interfere more with your ability to make $100 million than the fact that she can hustle with you. You're going to get more peace and happiness from the down to earth chick. And that lack of resistance in your life is going to actually help you grind better. Long story. Um Oh, my phone died. Oh well. Drop the top. She give me top up the top. If you talking down, we pop at ops. Oh no, did you make that up or is that from a song? Uh, how do you maintain your attainability when you're being super direct? Aren't you showing all your cards and killing the intrigue? The whole idea that you have to have mystery in a seduction is complete bullshit. It's a possible way to make intrigue, but it's not a necessary. So if you see someone write, "Oh, if you show all your cards, you lose your mystery," and she loses attraction. there's two possibilities from that person. One, they don't know what they're talking about because that's the only way they know how to seduce. Like they're not doing correct logic. That's just improper logic. You don't need mystery to have a girl to be interested. Like I know that directly. That's just not necessary. It's not a, and I'm saying that like logically, it's not a necessary premise to create attraction. It can work to create attraction. So a person's style might work with mystery, but it's not necessary. So the second reason a person's saying that is because it's their style, but they might be aware that it's not necessary. But you can be direct and she'd still be interested. You're interested, she's interested. You tell her you want to fuck her, she says, okay, cool, let's go. Like, usually it's a little bit more complicated than that, but I'm just simplifying it. But mystery is not necessary for a seduction to go well. And I know that from so many successful seductions. Your content and Alex's content on GC seem to clash. I'm torn in between. Yes, we have very different styles. It's a stylistic difference. He understands what I do works because we've met and spent time together. And I understand that what he does works, but I don't like to game the way he games. And he does not like to game the way I game. But I understand why what he does works. And he understands why what I do works. There we go. So try what you want, or try the style that works best for you. Certain personalities are going to lean better towards the way Alex does things, and certain personalities are going to lean towards what I do. But you don't need to follow my style. That's a big misunderstanding with seduction advice as well. You don't have to do what I do. You just need to understand the principles of why I do work, and then you can apply it to the way you do it. I mostly teach principles. And as long as you understand principles, then you can pull bitches. And you apply them, of course. Guido. Subscribe to my Patreon. Yes, you should subscribe to my Patreon. For sure. Why is my keyboard not working? Why is my keyboard not working? What the fuck is this shit? I was gonna... There it is. I'm gonna post my Patreon so I can make money. And you guys can get pussy. Alright. There you go. So that's my Patreon. If you sign up, you can ask me questions directly, and I'll give you direct answers. Obviously, more in detail than a live stream because I'm trying to answer as many questions as possible. What's your old outro song name? It's in the community post. If you go to my channel, and if you go to community, it's one of the old posts from 1 year ago. It's called 9-1 Nova Recollect. Yeah, it's a cool song. All right. Pew, 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 pew. Okay. Hector, all thanks to you. After watching your videos, I started pulling all the baddies. Congratulations, man. I'm happy for you. Sephiroth, bro. Holy shit, you're still around? How you doing, man? If you're the same one who I coached like 5 years ago, what's up? Some like to dance side to side, others are breakdancing. Exactly. That's a great analogy. Or a metaphor. I'm a sub. Appreciate it. I appreciate that. I did make out with one guy And after making out, he ended up calling me ugly compared with 5 other girls who refused to have sex. I guess that's why. How do I overcome this pain? Um, yeah, that sounds like he was just trying to make you feel bad. Yeah, that's just shitty. You get over that pain in two ways. One, you you got to work on your confidence, but that's a long-term solution, right? So the short-term solution is his statement wasn't true. It was out of spite, right? When you understand that someone, I'll give you an example. So today I was taking out the trash and I walked past some chick in my building and like I walked past her and she looked at me like she wanted to kill me. I've never met this woman in my life. Like she just like was in a shitty mood. I just looked at her like, holy shit. Like I could feel her energy. Like she was in a bad mood. I threw out the garbage and I come back and she was holding the door for me for like 2 minutes because, I had to walk and come back. And I was like, this is really nice. And I was about to say thank you. And then she starts talking and I'm like, oh. She was talking to Romanian, but I could hear her tone and like I knew it wasn't something good. And I said, what? She's like, that's not where you have to throw out the trash. And she starts like fucking explaining something to me. And I'm just like, oh, interesting. And just walk past her and ignore her. And I didn't get mad. I just thought it was funny, right? Because I knew that whatever is coming out of this woman's mouth is coming from a place of anger. But she was angry about something before me. I just gave her an outlet, right? She was coming into the apartment building fucking angry about something. I don't know what it was. Work, boyfriend, family, who knows? She was angry about something. And she chose to try and take it out on me. I didn't let her. And one reason why I know not to let her is because she's holding a hot rock in her hand, right? And she doesn't want to hold on to it anymore. So she's finding someone to throw it at. But that's not how it works. If you throw your anger at someone, it's going to come back to you 2 times. You get burned for holding on to the anger, and then now you're going to get burned a second time more because you threw it at someone, because that's how karma works. But I know she has this hot rock in her hand. She wants to throw it at me because she wants to take it out on someone, and she found a reason. It was a stupid reason, but she found a reason. I knew to fucking dodge it. I didn't grab it, I'm just like, nope, that's not mine. Doesn't belong to me. That belongs to you. Because I know she's doing it out of anger. So this guy who called you ugly, he's doing it out of anger. So whatever it comes out of his mouth, you might be ugly. I don't know. you might not be attractive, or you might be pretty, or you might be gorgeous. I don't know. But the truth factor of what he said, the moment you know he's being angry, it doesn't matter. I don't know. Whatever he's saying, not worth it, right? Now, in the long term, you need to work on your confidence, right? You should discover how attractive you are and just be honest with yourself about it. Like, I'm above average looking. I know that. I'm not gorgeous, but I'm above average looking. But I'm short. I know I'm short, so I accept that I'm short, right? Um, I know what I'm bad at, and I know what I'm good at. And there's some things that I'm bad at that I want to work on, but there's some things that I can't work on, like my height. You can't make yourself more beautiful. You can dress better, you can put makeup, but you're never going to change your facial structure, right? So you should just come to grips with how attractive you are and just go, all right. And if you want the answer, um, Toxic Wolf, buddy, I answered it like 5 minutes ago. I told you. Go to my YouTube, click on my profile, go to community, the community tab, right? And look at the old post from a year ago, right? Here, I'll even link it to you. If you listened, right? You would know that I told you. So chill out. Don't do this. Is that hard to answer? Fucking passive aggressive bullshit. Fuck off with that shit. Um, but yeah, work on your confidence by knowing how attractive you are. If you're like a 7 and you go, yeah, I'm a 7. Like, I'm cute, but I'm not like beautiful. Okay, cool. Go to the gym, make your ass fat, get in really good shape, dress really well. You can make your body a 10. Your body is one of those things that most women, outside of those with like disabilities, can make themselves pretty much a 10 out of 10 or close to, like at least a 9 if you put in the work. All right, I'm going to answer like one or two more questions and I'm going to go. You guys need to. Now it's popping off, right? Why did it pop off in the last hour? Or the last, 20 minutes? You guys got to be here. I was 10 minutes late. I will admit that. But you guys got to come. You gotta get in here. Sephiroth, long story short, focusing on business right now, trying to make more money. Nice, dude. Good to see you. I'm glad it's you. I'm glad you're still around. I'm glad you're still kicking it. Really happy for you. When you make more of that money, come do coaching with me. It's good to see you made it out of the war zone. I appreciate it, man. I'm very happy I did too. I'm going back. I got to go back to Kyiv to do some stuff. Hopefully, I don't get nuked while I'm there, but we'll see. He's coming back and asking for a second chance. Is he trying to use you? Of course he is. Fuck that guy. See, this is how you build confidence, girl. You gotta cut him off and say, he's using me for sex. He called me ugly. People who insult me are not people who are good for me. I may be drawn towards people who are shitty to me because I have insecurity issues, but the way that I work on my self confidence is day by day. Someone shitty to me, cut them off. That's going to grow your confidence. You have to do things that a confident you would do, which will then create a confident you. But if you let him back into your life and you wonder why you lack confidence, well, because you do things that a non-confident person would do. But I wish you the best, and I hope you cut him off because he's a piece of shit. Um, I'm just lurking. Got many stories for you, Hector. I bet, man. You have an interesting life, Davion. You've definitely been one of the more interesting clients I've had. You got a real interesting life. What's a good question? Oh, here we go. How do you make a long-term relationship fulfilling? Okay, I'll answer this in a few minutes. Uh. Oh, that one was what was it called? Magia. Yeah. Fuck. I don't remember. It was a friend. It was my editor's friend. He made it, but I don't remember what it's called. I know it's called Magia or something like that. You skip over a lot of questions. Well, yeah. Oh, you can't hear me? Oh, it's good now. Yeah, because I moved my headset. Um. Well, of course I skip over a lot of questions. I'm only gonna answer one more question, and I want to answer a question that's interesting. Just because I didn't answer your questions doesn't mean I didn't answer questions. Oh, but you asked a lot of questions, and I didn't answer any of your questions. Well, I apologize, dude. I'll give you a quick answer because I can see you wrote a lot of questions and you feel like I didn't answer. It is true I don't owe you anything, as Tyrone says, but I'll be a nice guy and I'll answer one of your questions. Best generic opener for online dating when you can't think of something. Give a compliment. If you're not getting responses, it's not the fact that you're giving a compliment. It's because your profile sucks, your pictures suck. Because online dating is 95% how you look. I just saved you so much fucking time. All these like clever openers that people teach on dating apps, maybe some of them work, Like the one that I knew worked the best was I made my bio don't ask for nudes. And I got a lot of girls who were like, "Oh, you're gonna give me nudes?" And it was kind of like a joke. It was really good. That was like the most successful bio that I've ever had. But like the most successful opener on that I've ever had is just giving a girl a compliment straight up. And I've tested it hundreds of times. The only thing that changed was my profile pic. So you got to make your pictures good. See Ahmed, thank you for coming. All right, so how do you make a long-term relationship fulfilling? Um, well, you need to know that you want it. You need to know you want a long-term relationship. Like it's a thing that you really actually want. And what I mean by that is you want to get married and have kids. That's what a long-term relationship means. If you don't plan on getting married and having kids, are there people out there who can have a successful long-term relationship without marriage and kids? Sure. But they're probably the minority. Right? So there needs to be a goal. Like, why am I in a long term relationship? Well, I want to experience a relationship to the fullest extent. And the fullest extent you can experience a relationship is being married, living together, and having children. The only other answer would be like, you just have a lot of sex, travel a lot, enjoy your lives together, and then that's it. I'm sure that can be fulfilling for some couples. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I would say most people, you know, get a house, have kids, get married, and live a peaceful life together. A long term relationship, you have the sex, which is super important. It's more important than most people are willing to talk about. But I'm sure you know that based on like how I teach. It's super important. So the sex, for the most part, needs to be there. But it can wane and wax. You don't need to be fucking all the time. But you should be attracted enough to each other to fuck all the time if you wanted to, right? But a long-term relationship is a lot about peace, meaning you two are really good at not talking to each other but still being happy with each other. Um, you can have activities that you share in common, or you cannot have activities that you share in common. Like I like to play video games. My girl likes to watch TV shows. I've tried to get her to play video games. She just doesn't like them. I do like watching TV shows, but I like playing video games more. But we can both do our own thing, and for the most of the day, just like interact with each other a little bit. Like go for a walk together, right? Or go get groceries together, or play with the cats together, or go to the zoo, or we'll have activities. But we're okay with doing our own activities, and then we spend a little bit of time with each other, and then we are content with that. Because when you're together for a long time, you know you're not always going to be having amazing conversations every second of the day. But you should talk a lot too. But so sex, being peaceful with each other, even though you don't do a lot together. But then when you do something together, you do it to like 100%. When you have a conversation with her, be 100% in that conversation. You're talking to her about something like something at work, an idea that you had. You're discussing a political event, religion, philosophy, your life, your plans. Like when you discuss things together, you are there 100%. Um, so yeah, that's a good start. Obviously, a long-term relationship is much deeper than that, but that's a really good place to start. They're simple answers, but if you think about them, they encompass a large part of a relationship. I guess four would be like you need long-term goals in common. Like if you want to have kids and she doesn't, it's probably not going to work out. If she wants to move here and you want to stay here, it's not going to work out. Like you got to have your long-term goals in common. So yeah. Anyways, all right, it's an hour. I know it's a bit late, so I will do a another live stream in 2 weeks, like this. I'll announce it if hopefully a few days beforehand. But I hope you guys like this. I hope it was informative. I hope that you gained some insights. I wish you guys all the best in your lives, both in your dating life and everything else in your life. I wish you all the happiness in the world. Um, May any good karma that I made today be shared with you guys. And I wish you all the happiness in the world. And yeah, good luck. I love you guys. Be cool. Stay horny. Be a good person. Have fun. All right. Ciao.